Hello, y'all on YouTube. This is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of a knife that was loaned to me by an awesome channel member, subscriber out there. Josh, thank you. Appreciate you allowing me to check this knife out. I have taken a special care of it. So yeah, let's take a look at this. This is the Chris Reeve Knives Mnandi. All right, today I'm looking at the Chris Reeves Knives Mnandi. This is a very unique knife. It's a smaller knife, as you can see. I mean, compare it to Mannix, it's obviously a much smaller knife, right? But it is a very exquisite knife. This particular one is one of the gentleman's collection pieces that he very much enjoys. He does carry it, but very carefully. This is the I'm gonna not say it correctly, but it is. It is Bog Oak inlaid right here. So Bog Oak inlay. Technically, this is you can call it a scale, but it's really technically inlaid. As you can see, the screw is to the titanium clip out there. I would call this an inlay. Some people might not, and that's fine. Technically, it's inlaid on top of the frame, the titanium frame. So this is a titanium frame with the inlay on top. Now, because the inlay goes over the lock bar here on the frame, this is considered a bolstered frame lock. Some people say it's a liner lock. If you want to call it a liner lock, that's fine. You're welcome to do so. But technically, this is an inlay. It's not the full frame. And so I would not call this a liner lock. And second of all, it also has a lock bar that has some weight, some cutout for tensioning, getting the right tension on the lock bar that does engage. Now this is a full titanium on steel here. And this, if you didn't notice, this is Chad Nichols Damascus steel. And this is called the Boomerang pattern. All right, so the designer of this, Chris Reeve Knives, obviously it's Chris Reeve, is one of his designs. This is the small, I call it like, I don't know, we can call this a slip lock or a frame joint. I don't know. It's like a slip lock frame joint kind of came together, right? It's like you want a slip joint, but you want it to lock, right? Or you wanted a really small frame lock that was like a slip lock, a slip joint, that you could put in your pocket. And this is it. This is really a beautiful size. Ironically, if you see this, it has a little step in there. It actually goes in and out of the pocket very nicely. It really did. I tried it just for a little bit, just on a thin pair of pants, just see this, and it does. It doesn't catch, it doesn't rip. It's very nice, right? Again, this is a loan knife to me. I don't do destruction tests. I don't do crazy things. I cut one piece of paper with this knife. He allowed me, said I could. And so I was very appreciative of that. But I'm just checking it out to get a feel for it because I've never handled one of these. I wanted to see what size was. How does it feel in the hand? And it does unlock like that really nicely. You can see that. Beautifully centered, traditional, you got the pivot back there like all of Chris Reeve knives. Really solid there. I can't reverse that because it is, I believe it's inset. There's a pin in there that keeps it from going. There's none over here. So it's a right-hand tip up only. You have the jimping up there. It works really nice. I don't think you can open it that way. No, you can't. Again, this is not mine. I think you could probably tune this where you might be able to flick that open because there's enough in there to get in there for me to get that open. So if you wanted to, you could probably at some point, if you wanted to, if you had your own, I don't think I would do it on a Chad Nichols Boomerang Damascus because that's really nice, by the way. So, and it is USA made. It's made by Chris Reeve Knives in the United States. So understand that. It's going to add cost. And not only that, because it's, Bog Oak. It's, and then you've got Chad Nichols Damascus, which is a very premium version of Damascus. Now you have Damasteel, which is another premium version. And there's some really higher versions of even of Damasteel, just like there is of Chad Nichols. Las Vegas Damascus, I believe Alabama Damascus. There's some other really fancy Damascus makers out there. But as you can see, it's kind of like a reverse of the Damasteel where you have the polished on the waves on the inside and it's more acid etched on the darker. So some people really like that dark look. I like the Damasteel look a little bit more. I would love to see a little more polish on this, but that's, it's your knife. You get what you want. But this is the Boomerang version of it. I think it's cool. Absolutely, absolutely cool. Beautiful polish on that edge. I don't know if you can see that. It's nicely polished, high edge, super sharp. Definitely no issues there. It does lock up fully engaged about 50-60%. As you can see, no blade rocks in there, solid, no pivot lock. You can hear the detent when it closes, nice little clickety. You hear that? Let's do it again. I'll do it on this side, maybe get a little close to the mic. You hear that? It's a little click in there. The detent goes and locks it right in place. Super solid, no detent lash. It's in there really well. And you can do the slow roll, one-handed, absolutely. I mean, it can be you can do two hands if you wanted to, but I can do one-handed. I could do, it's a little harder left hand because I got, my challenge, I got big old meaty fingers. You've got thinner fingers, this is going to be a lot easier for you, but I can still do it. I can still do it on the right-handed. It definitely tells me this is too small. It's a cool looking knife and probably not my size, but I'm glad I got a chance to check it out because I feel like it would be too small and I probably would end up selling it because I couldn't really carry it comfortably. I mean, I don't mind small knives. I have some really wonderful small slip joints that I carry. I like them a lot, but they have to be ergonomically work with my hands. This one's a little more challenging, but it's beautiful, and I'm really honored to get a chance to check it out. Absolutely gorgeously done. All right, so the materials, we already talked about Bog Oak, titanium scales, titanium clip milled beautifully. You've got Chad Nichols Damascus, the Boomerang version here, gorgeous. It is hollow grind, beautifully crowned on the top here, no sharp edge right up there. Got a beautiful little, maybe call this a clip point probably. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe clip point, sponto, whatever, you know, I don't know what you want to call it, but clip point. Jimping up here, very functional, absolutely works. Your finger's not going to move. It's really functional jimping. And it's not a pocket shredder. You can move over it without it ripping everything up. But once you push down, you're locked in place, which is great because you don't want to slide on a blade where you might not have a nice finger guard. So that's great. Do like that. Do like that a lot. Lock type, frame lock. I call this a bolstered frame lock. You want to call it a liner lock? Help yourself. You're fine. But I will tell you technically this is an inlaid on top of the frame. You can also tell this is a titanium frame. You can also see the cutout to the lock bar, which technically makes this part of the frame, which is a frame, a lock bar on the frame. So this is a frame lock. So there you go. Take it for what you want. If I shattered your world, your vision, I'm sorry. Or if you totally think I'm an idiot, that's fine too. We'll agree to disagree. All right. As far as everything else, blade, opening, closing, it's really nice. It's not meant to be, you know, super fidgety. This is more of a very subdued, gentlemanly, kind of conservative kind of knife. All right, so let's do some quick measurements on this guy. We will measure this real quick. I'm going to guess it's super light. All right, so this knife here weighs 1.5 ounces. It's super light. It's super, super light. I mean, how light can you get? That's it. So let's look at the length of this. I mean, it's a small knife, so we know it's already going to be small. So overall length of this knife is just over 6¼ inches. I would say 6 and probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16, maybe 5/16. Yeah. Overall handle length for your grip, you're going to get about 3.5 inches. You might be able to get in 3 and 7. Maybe 9/16. You might be able to get that in, barely. The length of the blade is going to be 2 3/4 inch from the tip to the handle. Actual cutting length is 2 3/4 inches, so it's, you know, relatively small. I'm going to put this like this to get the blade stock thickness. It is going to be super thin, especially for a Chris Reeve knife. So let's take a look. 895 thousandths of an inch. 89 thousandths of an inch. 89 thousandths of an inch. So it's very under 1/10 inch. It is super, super thin blade stock thickness. Love this finish on here. I did notice when you first got it, there was like a little, not so, like must have, as he, you know, carried it, might have hit something. I saw that in the unboxing, but you know, that happens. When you carry a knife, those things are going to happen. It gives your knife character. So here's the thing, if you carry a knife and you want it to be absolutely perfect, never have any show sign or anything, keep it in the box and just pull it out and look at it. Don't ever touch it, right? If that's your type of collection, you can collect like that. It's your call, right? If that's how you want to collect, go for it. But I like to collect and use my knives. So I totally respect that he has like a little sign of use on there. Even if he doesn't hard use it, just the fact that he carries it. I mean, that to me that brings character to the knife, and it's absolutely expected. I mean, to me, it means like the knife is used. He's not going to abuse and beat this up because it's such a gorgeous high-end knife. I get that. I get that. So I'm totally fine with that. So I just mentioned that to you guys because some of you guys are, you know, you have some extreme views, and that's okay. You can have your extreme views. They're your views to do as you want. I respect it, whether we agree or not. I respect it. Okay, just so you know that. All right, let's talk a little bit about. We talked about that. Let's talk about, is this a budget knife or a super budget? No, a budget knife is under $100. Super budget's under 50. A regular knife is $100 to $300. No. Is it a high-end knife, $300 to $600? No. This particular knife, I mean, it's close. I think you can get the Mnandi with the plain stuff. I think you can get that under $600. I thought I saw that. I might be wrong. This one I did see was like $750 or whatever. I don't know if this was the one. I did see a link for it. Now, may have been an old post, you know, because, you know, some people will post this and they may not get another Mnandi to sell like this. And it may be a little older. The newer cost, the latest cost, I could easily see this be $850 or so, right? So it's not going to be a cheap knife. Definitely with the Chad Nichols Damascus steel, that does add to your cost for sure. And then the Bog Oak is definitely going to add to your cost. So keep that in mind. Now for me, I probably will never, also the other thing, the reason why I'll never get one, all three versions had a different kind of wood inlay. And I have very sweaty acidic skin, and I would totally break down any sort of seal that was on here, and I would ruin the wood. And it would be a bummer because that's just what my body does. And so for me, this is never going to be a knife that I really can carry. I wish they had a carbon fiber inlaid version. I think that would be super cool. I don't know if they'll ever do that. I think this is very particular type of focus for who buys this and what they want it to be. And that's fine. They're the ones who make it. They're the ones who can decide it. I also will decide that I probably won't ever get one, but I think carbon fiber would be super sick, you know, and it doesn't have to be crazy. It could be a beautiful twill. It could be something, you know, elegant, something that matches the elegance of this knife. I think it's an elegant knife. I think it's a great carry. It's like if you want to carry something that you didn't want it to be overstated, yet be strong statement and you know, very formal, this really would do that, right? So for me, this puts this into the custom Midtech. Now it is more Midtech with the way Chris Reeve does. It's, you don't have Chris Reeve's original. Now his son is involved in the manufacturing, but his dad is not out there doing hands-on. He designs, but now he's got a bunch of people that work for him. So he is more of a production, kind of like I would say Hinder Knives is like that. Spartan Knives is probably like that. McNeese Knives wasn't like that a few years ago, but he's going into that realm as well because he is definitely ramping up his stuff and making more knives, still keeping a great quality control, hands-on out there. I suspect, I wouldn't be surprised if like Rick Hinder came out and he checked the stuff out. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Reeve, his dad, came out and checked things out. I wouldn't surprise me, you know, right? So that's sort of the line. So I would call this mid-tech, but definitely a lot of hand finishes. It does get into not full production. I think there's a lot of hands that are done, like the edge and all this stuff, and overall fit and finish and assembly. So that it's really in that mid-tech range. Purpose, is this EDC hard use collection? Absolutely collection piece, 100%. For anybody, it can be a collection piece, whatever, how you ever want to collect it. Use it, don't use it, carry it, store it, that's fine. Is it a hard use? This seems like not a hard use. Now, hard use for a small slip joint type of knife to cut and carry and open letters and envelopes, sure. So if that's your hard use, yes. But are you going to go chop down woods and twigs and branches, work in the yard with it? No, I wouldn't imagine you'd want to do that. Could you? Yeah, probably. Your call, your decision. It's your knife. You do what you want. But if you're in a pinch and you had to do something, I'm sure it could serve you well and save your life, right? You know, if you need to cut something that got stuck to your car and you're out in a snowstorm or out in somewhere in the desert and you need to get free, could it? Yeah, you could use it as you needed to. It'd probably become more meaningful to you because it got you through a very crazy situation. So, you know, there you go. As far as EDC, absolutely could EDC this. It's a beautiful knife to EDC. And I believe the gentleman who owns this, Josh, does EDC this. And it's a gorgeous knife to EDC. I can totally see it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Totally recommend that. So, you know, but again, that's your call. You could safe queen it or you can carry it. It's up to you. Now, if I had something like this, like let's say it was carbon fiber, it was just a little bit bigger, or I don't know, there's a few things, but let's say I like this and I had it in my collection, I would definitely carry it. It would be a light use kind of carry, right? So, and I do that. I do that with some of my higher end knives. All right, overall ergos and feels. It is remarkably a great little feeling knife. I can actually slow roll it one-handed. I can close it one-handed. So it is a one-handed operation for a very small knife. It feels like a slip joint that is a frame lock, or a frame lock that that's shrunk to the size of a slip joint if you ever wanted to carry one around and that locked. So it has those benefits. I think that's really nice. The ergos, there's no sharp edges anywhere. Everything's taken care of. They did handle everything. There's no little edges here or there that you would expect. Everything is nice and smooth. I mean, there's some sharp edges with the look, but that's more the design. But crowned back spine, all that stuff. Even here, the frame lock, nice chamfered in there. Easy access, you can see, you can get to that bar, which is nice. So all that stuff works really, really well. Yeah, overall, that's great. There's jimping. There's jimping on the blade, and it's very functional jimping. I like that. Is there a lanyard loop? Not really, but you know, it is a Chris Reeve knife. So, I mean, I guess theoretically you could tie something there if you wanted to, and it does kind of break the lanyard loop thing that Chris Reeve does with all his knives. But, you know, yeah, technically I'd say no lanyard loop on this one. It has a clip, which is kind of like a nice little thing. If you wanted slip joint with a clip, you could actually do that. Overall feel is nice. I mean, it's smaller, and I think for smaller hands, thinner fingers, you're going to enjoy this. Definitely, I'm glad I got a chance to handle it because it does tell me it's a little too small for me. But I do enjoy it. I do appreciate it. There's so much to appreciate about the knife. So definitely that. Fidget factor, very minimal. I can slow roll it. Now, this is not my knife. So do I think if I had this and I tuned it and everything, could I flip it? I think I could. I think it could be flipped, but it's not my knife to flip. So I would never do that. I think it could have that. So I'm going to give it a 2 on the fidget factor just because of the way it's designed. I believe the intent of it. So it's a 2 on the fidget factor. So I'll give it that. What is the fidgety goodness for it? I mean, as far as slip joint goes, like typically slip joints get a 1, right? I mean, maybe I'll give them a 2 if it's just a beautiful walk and talk and it's crisp and it's very satisfying. But typically, you know, they get a 1. This, you know, I will give this a 2, and I will say as far as opening and closing, it's very satisfying. The lock engages, disengages, it keeps it in place. I'm going to give this a 95, a solid A, maybe even a 98. I'll give it an A+. Not 100 because there's a few things that are amiss for my hand. I mean, it could for a smaller hand, could be absolutely 100 for you. But for me, this is about a 98. 98 as far as that. And that's me understanding the design, the intent of this knife and who it's for. So that's a 98, and it's definitely an A+. Is it recommended? I absolutely do recommend it. If you like smaller knives, even with big old meaty fingers like me, then you might like this. If you like to carry a slip joint, you wanted something that just locked up, this is a nice alternative. It really is. It comes with a little leather slip that you can actually keep it in if you wanted to, or you can clip it in your pocket in a 5th pocket knife, like in a little 5th pocket. Sometimes we put coin or change or whatever in there, keys. This could actually work. I think you would really, really enjoy that. I think it would be very nice. It would be a really cool little nice knife to enjoy. So definitely recommend it. Definitely recommend it. Now, they have versions that don't have the fancy Chad Nichols Damascus steel, which is nice. And especially if you really enjoy that pattern. I mean, it's gorgeous, right? But I would say that there are some that are a little more cost effective, maybe just a more polished hollow ground. You would enjoy that. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that knife. So let's look at that Boomerang pattern. You can see on there, it kind of looks like a little boomerang. It's a wave pattern. Chad Nichols just does such an outstanding job. And let's look at that Bog Oak wood there. It's just really gorgeous. Reflect. You can see it's kind of sealed in. I don't know if that's like a lacquer or if that's polyurethane or whatever, but it is sealed in. Would not do well with my acidic skin. That's just a good thing to keep in mind for me. Does have, there's no weight relief on the inside, but it's very thin. You saw it's 1.5 ounces. Here's the clip, titanium, beautifully patterned, like a little Chris Reeve design there. It does look like it's going to be kind of grippy there, but it's not. It goes in and out of pocket relatively nice. It is pretty thick, so it's strongly in your pocket. You have that wooden inlay, the Bog Oak. You can definitely see that going over the bolstered liner lock, right? Or if I'm saying that jokingly, right? Those of you who think it's a liner lock, it's really a bolstered frame lock. So right, so it's a bolstered frame lock. Call it what you want. Don't hate me for it. If you disagree, we can agree to disagree. But there you go again, more of that boomerang, Damascus type pattern from Chad Nichols. I love how it reflects. You can see that, especially little waves that going in there. It's really nice. Almost looks like zebra strikes. Do you see that? Like you see here and here and here and here, and it's kind of like pulls another wave pattern in with it. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know. And that's the boomerangs that most people talk about. But then you see the wave patterns in here, but you can see it like this one. You see the reflection, right? That's where it really stands out. Does it stand out? Yeah, you can see it over here too. You have to get the right angle. But it's very cool. Very, very cool. And there's the frame lock. It does lock up really nicely there on the engagement there. Let's look at the back, and you've got the little standoff back there. You've got the stop pin. You got a little cutaway here. Get your finger on there and the jimping. Nice little fuller there. I call it a fuller. It's not a thumb hole because unless you're I don't know, unless you're super, super small, you're not going to get a thumb in there, right? So, all right, so this is the knife right here as well. We'll do a nice close-up here. Let's see if we can get a nice angle for that. Let's see, I can get right there. Let me zoom in. I want to get a little picture for my little thumbnail, right? Make sure it stands out. There we go. How about that? I think that's nice. What do y'all think? Beautiful knife, though. I mean, it's well done. It's absolutely well done. I'm glad I got a chance to check it out. I absolutely appreciate the knife. I think if you have someone you wanted to get a very special knife for that was very close to you in the family, you know, father, grandfather, you wanted to do something a little above and beyond, this would absolutely fit the bill. This would be an exquisite knife to give. They would, I think, would be, and they love knives this size. They would absolutely be appreciative. Such a gorgeous knife, right? So there you go. All right, I'm going to zoom back out. So again, this is the Chris Reeve Knives Mnandi. It's pronounced Mnandi. So Mnandi, the Mnandi. Right, very, very cool little knife. I highly recommend it. I think you would enjoy it if it's your aesthetics, your size, your ergos. Definitely highly recommend. The quality build is top notch. It's absolutely in that realm of Chris Reeve knives. Some people are gonna be like, it's not modern, blah blah. You know, not everything has to be exactly modern with every new process. Sometimes making something exquisitely and made well in a traditional process, I think, is fantastic as well. You're not going to miss out on anything, right? It's not like they were making this only never having discovered the wheel and they were using only squares, and somebody discovered the wheel and they, you know, decided, well, we're going to still ride our cars on squares or, you know, boxes or whatever instead of use wheels. We're not that kind of realm, right? So take it for what it is. All right, so that's the Mnandi. I'm definitely going to recommend it. I think you appreciate you watching so far. Like I said, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? If you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows the channel to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone who watches the videos, who likes the videos, who enjoys the content, who watches the live streams, who comments, who's just part of the whole community. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. And then a big shout out, thank you to all my, forgot. Also check, hit that, did the subscribe, did the like. Also hit the notification button down below as well, so you can be notified of future content like this video. Also, a big shout out, thank you to all the channel members out there. Appreciate you guys. You guys go a long way to help me to do things way sooner than I ever thought I'd be able to do, and encourage me to keep going. There's days when I'm very busy with work, and wasn't for you guys, I don't know, might not keep going, but I appreciate you. So thank you. Thank you to all you guys out there. I do so very much appreciate you. As a small way for me to say thank you to all my channel members, I do two exclusive things. I do a once a month members giveaway. It's an exclusive knife, not just a budget banger, which I love to give away every week. And a big shout out and thank you to the channel members who allow me to continue to do that. You're part of that. So all the subscribers who are out there, you know, thank the channel members if you're not one already, just because they do help with that. But that's my first thing. I do a once a month members giveaway, kind of an exclusive giveaway. And then also the other thing is, if you're a brand new channel member, email me with your name and address. I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and a little thank you note to say thank you for being a channel member. I will do that as well for channel members who've been members all along and are members right now, or channel members who were members and then became members again and are members right now, but you've never asked me for a sticker. Email me as well. I'd love to mail you a sticker as well. All right. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.